man, Woody likes the crooked cock.
They show up. He says, bow down or you're going in the furnace. No other options. They say, I will not bow down. No, I'm not bowing down. No, that's not my God. I'm not bowing down to your false idol or whatever the fuck. And he goes like probably a little like kind of like happy about it. Like, okay, time to break in the furnace. But he tells his furnace guy first, he goes, turn it up 7 times as hot as normal. And in my head, I'm thinking like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego at this time were kind of relieved where they're like, oh, he said 7. 7's one of those numbers that works out well. God, if he had said turn it up twice as hot, I would have shit myself. But 7, we should be okay. Thank God. And so, Nebuchadnezzar, well, 7, it's a biblical number. Like, it's all
you see it a lot.
Oh, you're talking to me, you know I know that.
Yeah. Things happen in 7s all the time in the Old Testament and in the New. And so Nebuchadnezzar wasn't just content with normal soldiers tying him up because he's brought some of his governors and satraps and people to see this whole thing because he thinks it's cool. It is cool. And he brings out his most burly, ripped soldiers to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And then he tells them, throw them in the fire. And he says that the fires were so hot that when they went to open the furnace to throw the 3 Jews in, that the men throwing them in themselves died. And so he wasted a bunch of juicy man muscle just in trying to get his point across, which I wouldn't have done. I would have used worthless soldiers, but what do I know? I'm no Neb. And so he throws them in there, and he's sitting on his cool gold throne, the extra gold that was left over from the statue, just kind of watching. And I guess there's a fucking window in this furnace that you can kind of see what's going on. And so after a couple minutes, he's like, what? I see. How many Jews do we... Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, was there another one? They got goofy-ass names. Was there 4? There's 4 people standing in there right now. Well, don't take them out yet, because even if it is their god, maybe he'll run out of magic, and they'll eventually burn. You know, like maybe he can only stave off the flames for so long. So he leaves them in there a couple more minutes to simmer. Becomes clear God's not going to run out of magic. And so he goes, take those guys out of there. Take them out of there. And so he opens up the furnace. The three, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego come out totally unscathed. It says they don't even smell of fire.
Are they naked?
They don't even smell like they've been there. No, their clothes were fine too. And so they all come out, and all the governors, the satraps, everybody's there. They're looking. And so King Nebuchadnezzar has to pull a World War II Italy, where they switch sides and pretend they've been on that side the entire time. And so he goes, wow, your guys' God is really cool. I'm on board. You guys don't have to worship this statue. Everyone, we are keeping the statue. It looks awesome. We don't have to pray to it, but we're not getting rid of it. That's fine. You go in the furnace. You're not protected by their God. We're keeping the statue. Does anyone not want to keep the statue? We're keeping the fucking statue. And so he keeps the statue. And then also he's talking to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and being like, wow, your God's like legit real. My gold statue didn't do anything but shine brightly. And so he asks them about their God. They kind of have a little back and forth. And then because King Nebuchadnezzar still has to appear hardcore, he goes, all right, we're all following the Jewish God now. And anyone in my kingdom who questions the Jewish God, I will have you and your family cut to pieces and your homes razed to the ground. And everybody's like, 40 minutes ago, we were talking about the statue. And so everybody unanimously is like, yeah, whatever you say, dude, we're all on board with the Jewish God. I don't want to get cut to pieces. And then to end it all, he gives Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego a raise and a promotion.
Ooh.
So what did we learn?
Hopefully we're fireproof.
I was hoping for insight because I didn't learn anything. Nothing at all. At all.
It's a little similar to David in the lion pit, you know? I feel like they just recycled that one at some point.
You know, they probably did.
If you think about it, they're like identical stories, right? Except you got lions instead of fire.
You think that like one scribe or whatever prophet back in the day was writing that, and his scribe's like, oh, this is very similar. I'm British. This is very similar to David in the lion's den. He's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Name 10 similarities.
I like to think the teacher handed out a project and she's like, no group projects. You guys can't. Did you guys work together on yours?
Mine's got lions.
Mine's got a cool statue and a king named Nebuchadnezzar.
We should run both through one of those like plagiarism checkers they use in colleges now.
Yeah.
See if anyone
definitely
gets busted.
That would be funny. If it's like Jeremiah ripped all of his shit from like Leviticus.
It's like that year that the two Deep Impact and Armageddon came out the same year.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a fuck. What? What? Well, in ours, the asteroid hits. All right.
What I've learned the most is the more like I read these Old Testament stories, and like I've got a couple more stories outlined for the future. I just like doing them in our Just Us Girls chats. Is I'm not learning anything. I'm not learning any morals, any sort of compass for my life for most of these stories.
Really?
It's really just pretty, like,
come on, you get it though, right? You do get it.
I get that you're supposed to praise this God.
No, it's about faith under fire, literally.
Yeah, but that's
it's trusting God no matter what. And
in
God
real life,
will
that doesn't work at all.
Yeah, you become a martyr.
Lots of people get cancer and they pray to God and they believe just as much as these fucks.
Well, that was part of God's plan.
Yeah, that's a convenient out.
That's the truth. Question it and you could burn too.
I just feel like if I had put my faith in God instead of my reserve parachute 2 months ago, this show would be down one host.
Yeah, dude, if the afterlife is real...
And that would have been God's plan.
If the afterlife is real,
praise his name.
Fucking St. Peter next to the pearly gates is going to pull up one of the many YouTube compilations you listeners have made of my Bible stories, and I'm going straight to hell. So thanks for that. Thanks for that. But it's not real, so don't worry about it.
That's the lesson.
I'm like 99% sure.
Yeah. If it is,
are you 100%? Or because I'm only like 99%.
No, I would say I'm like high 90s%. But if I die and it turns out it's real, poof, I am not going to be pleased.
Me either. And if you think about it, you wouldn't risk like how do the seatbelts work in your car? It says high 90s. 93, 94% of the time they work. Not really. Doesn't that concern you? Like, aren't you always worried about it every time you get behind the wheel? No, not really. I mean, that like they taught us that in school as like an argument to believe in God. It was called Pascal's wager. And it was, if you believe in God and it doesn't exist, you haven't lost anything. If you believe in God and he does exist, you go to heaven. If you don't believe in God and he doesn't exist, nothing happens. If you don't believe in God and he doesn't